Well, the January 6th committee voted to subpoena Trump. It's kind of a big deal. We're going to talk about it right after this. Don't forget to subscribe on our website, www.freegrace.in, or on the platform you're watching or listening to the show on. Now let's talk about the Trump subpoena. First of all, what is a subpoena? Well, it's just an order for a particular person to come and give testimony under oath or to provide records. So, what court subpoenaed him? Well, in the news, you'll hear it called the January 6th Committee, but its official name seems to be the Select Committee to Investigate the January 6th Attack on the United States Capitol. You can see why they call it the January 6th Committee. So, what is that? Is it a court? No, it's a select committee. Select means it's temporary. It's not ongoing. House select committees are created by the House of Representatives to just investigate stuff. And since they're given power by the House, they have the legal authority to subpoena people for testimony, like courts do. So the January 6th committee is calling Trump in to answer questions about the Capitol riot that happened on January 6th. So why now? Well, basically, he's just continually coming up in the conversation. Also, there were some recent allegations that he had already made plans to overturn the election results prior to finding out that he had lost the election. And witness testimony claims that part of his plan was to stoke anger among the followers, etc. So yeah, they want to talk to him. Now let's put this into some historical context. It's pretty rare to subpoena a sitting or a past president, but it has happened at least occasionally. In 1846, John Quincy Adams and John Tyler, both former presidents, were subpoenaed. Harry S. Truman was subpoenaed in 1953, but he refused to go. Nixon was subpoenaed, but he didn't play along either. He decided to quit instead. There have been other presidents like Jefferson, Monroe, and Clinton who have received subpoenas, but not before Congress. In those cases, they were from civil, criminal, and military courts. So, what will Trump do? I don't believe Trump's going to go along with this. I don't think he'll cooperate. If I were to bet, I'd say he doesn't show at all. If he does, I'd guess he'll plead his Fifth Amendment right to not incriminate himself. After all, the midterm election might shift seats around in Washington. Pretty likely that the narrow majority in the House and the Senate will shift the other way, making it a lot easier to get by without going along with the subpoena. We'll see. However, what I want to see is this. I actually want Trump to cooperate. Now, I'm a conservative, but I wish he'd sit down and just tell the truth. I mean, in most of the other cases where presidents have been subpoenaed, they were dealing with much smaller issues than this. I mean, this is a case where we had American citizens break into the Capitol, try to overturn an election, and people died. I mean, it's a big deal. I think it would show a lot of integrity and character if he appeared and gave clear and precise testimony. But, like I said, I don't think it's going to happen. But maybe. Now, there are a few cases where presidents and ex-presidents have volunteered to appear before congressional committees. They volunteered to go and give testimony without even being subpoenaed. My favorite case is Theodore Roosevelt's. On explaining why he was willing to volunteer to give testimony, he said this: "An ex-president is merely a citizen of the United States, like any other citizen, and it is his plain duty to try to help this committee or respond to its invitation." Theodore Roosevelt. I like his attitude here. He sounds like a man with nothing he's trying to hide. Now, I don't honestly know the truth about Trump's involvement in the January 6th riot, but that's exactly the point. We just want to know the truth, right? I mean, if there's nothing to hide, come and explain that. For that matter, come and explain even if there is something to hide. That would be important. So, we can't really affect what Trump does, right? But I think there's a lesson in all of this for our daily lives. There's this proverb that I really like that reminds me of this situation. It says this: "Whoever conceals his transgressions will not prosper, but he who confesses and forsakes them will obtain mercy." Proverbs 28:13. Now, I don't know what Trump will do, and honestly, it doesn't really affect my life all that much. But this verse does. I know it's hard to confess our wrongs when we've messed up, but if we don't, there is failure in our future. Hiding our mistakes and hoping others won't find out will twist us into knots and make us miserable. It embitters others who we've wronged. We won't prosper and thrive if we spend our energy trying to hide our wrongs. Now, if you've believed in Jesus for everlasting life, great. You've received the kind of forgiveness you need to get into heaven. But that doesn't mean that we get to pretend our faults don't exist. We've been forgiven, but we're not yet made perfect. So if you're a Christian, confess your faults to God and others and work on leaving those faults behind. There's freedom in this. There's mercy waiting for those who fess up. So, maybe you've wronged a coworker. Maybe you've wronged a family member or a friend. It's time to get with them and talk about it. Today could be the day you make it right and find that mercy you need. The most important thing in our lives are relationships. Let's live like that's true. Now, don't forget to subscribe at www.freegrace.in or on the platform you're watching or listening to this show. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back with you soon.